Many years ago, a massive war broke out between the archangels Michael and Lucifer. Lucifer, once the most favored angel in heaven, led a rebellion against God. But Michael crushed the uprising and chained Lucifer deep in hell, using his own sword as the seal. Lucifer begged for help, but Michael coldly denied him, reminding him of the sins he had committed. Furious, Lucifer swore he'd return one day as powerful as God himself. Over the centuries, Lucifer gathers demons and begins planning his revenge. His followers on Earth form a cult and wait for the perfect moment to free him. The year is now 2022. A biotech company, secretly a front for Lucifer's worshippers, has a plan to bring him back. Their goal? Steal the Shroud of Turin, the cloth believed to be stained with the blood of Jesus himself, and use it to create the perfect vessel for Lucifer's return. But there's a catch. The shroud is heavily protected by Father Marconi, the priest in charge of the cathedral that houses it. Meanwhile, in Italy, art historian Laura is working on her thesis. She believes Renaissance artists didn't really believe in angels and demons. They just painted them out of tradition. But her research takes a dark turn when she visits Father Marconi, who gives her a special pass to explore the cathedral, including the heavily guarded Shroud of Turin exhibit. Marconi shows her around, eventually stopping at a statue of Michael standing over Lucifer in defeat. As they talk about the nature of evil, Laura's worldview begins to crack. Before she leaves, the priest tells her she's allowed to paint the statue for her project, but he has no idea just how close she's about to get to real evil, or that the cult is already watching her every move. While painting the statue, Laura suddenly hears someone whisper her name, but there's no one around, so she shrugs it off as her imagination. Hours pass, and the exhibit is about to close. A woman named Liz joins the final group of guests, but instead of following the tour, she slips through a restricted door being monitored on the security cameras. Liz wanders through the dark corridors until she reaches the statue gallery, where she quietly watches Laura from the shadows. As Laura paints, she suddenly sees the statue of Lucifer move its head. She jumps, confused and uneasy. When she looks around, she's startled again, this time by a raven tapping at the window. While the bird distracts her, Liz sneaks up and silently removes Michael's sword from the statue, then disappears. Unaware, Laura packs up her gear and notices the statue's hand, but doesn't realize the sword is gone. As she heads toward the front exit, she finds it locked and goes to find security. But when she gets back to the hallway, she freezes in horror. Liz slaughters the guard with the sword and rips his head off. Panicked, Laura runs and hides inside a confessional booth. Through the wooden slats, she watches Liz hold up the guard's head to a scanner, disabling the alarms. Then, Liz smashes through the display case with the sword and steals the Shroud of Turin. Father Marconi rushes in and tries to stop her, but Liz stabs him without hesitation. Her henchmen arrive and quickly help her steal the relic. But as they head out, Liz spots Laura hiding and coldly orders her men to take the girl too. After the group vanishes, Marconi uses his last breath to whisper a prayer, asking the Archangel Michael to take his body and stop Lucifer. Instantly, light pours from above. Michael descends from heaven and takes over the priest's dying body. He leaps to his feet and chases after the cult's getaway car, running faster than any human ever could. But the holy energy is too much for mortal flesh, and Michael is forced to stop before the body burns out completely. Liz delivers the stolen shroud to Dr. Laurent, one of the top scientists in a biotech company that's secretly a front for a cult that worships Lucifer. Deep inside their lab, Laura and 3 other women are chained together inside a high-tech glass chamber. For years, the cult tried using DNA-cloned children to give Lucifer a body, but none of them was strong enough to contain him. That's why they stole the shroud. Their new plan is to clone Jesus using his DNA, the only body powerful enough to hold Lucifer's soul. Meanwhile, Michael returns to the cathedral and finds the other priests watching security footage. They're stunned to see Marconi alive. Michael doesn't waste time explaining. He asks about the guards who were supposed to be in the chapel. The priests tell him that Cardinal Vincini had been in charge, but he left the church after having a mental breakdown. Michael demands to know where he went and heads out to find him. Back in the lab, the scientists work quickly and manage to extract Jesus' DNA from the cloth. At a nearby refugee camp, Michael finds Vincini, who pulls a gun on him in fear. But the moment Vincini touches him, he senses the truth. This is no ordinary priest. Michael reveals he's an angel, and Vincini instantly believes him. Vincini tells Michael he knows the truth about Liz and points to a strange building in the distance, built over a pit that leads straight to hell. The scriptures say Lucifer's return needs two ancient beasts, one from the human world, clearly Liz, and the other, the beast of the earth. Vincini takes Michael to the site. As they approach, Michael's sword starts to glow and tremble. The seal breaks, and deep below, Lucifer is finally set free. Back at the facility, the women talk quietly in their cell, trying to figure out how to escape. Laura opens up and reveals she once had a husband and child, both now dead. Dr. Laurent runs more tests and discovers that Laura is genetically 100% compatible. Liz orders him to accelerate the procedure. Later, when the nurses return to take the women away, the captives fight back using their chains as weapons. They manage to take down a few guards, but reinforcements show up fast. The nurses overpower them and drag Brenda and Laura to the operating room. There, the doctors implant cloned embryos, fertilized with the DNA of Jesus, into their wombs. Liz walks in and smiles coldly, revealing the truth to Laura. She is now the chosen vessel, the angel of Lucifer. Vincini leads Michael to a hidden cave entrance that tunnels beneath the facility. Before they part ways, Vincini spots a crow watching them from above. He shoots it on instinct and hands the gun to Michael. Without wasting another second, Michael steps into the cave alone. Meanwhile, inside the facility, Laura and Brenda are dragged out and dressed like brides for some twisted ritual. A huge crowd of Lucifer's followers surrounds them, cheering as the women are tied to a metal pole. Moments later, a monstrous figure, the beast of the earth, emerges and loads them into an iron cage, which is then slowly lowered down into a pit leading directly to hell. As the cage descends, a swarm of demons appears in the darkness and begins clawing at the women. Then Lucifer himself rises. His spirit first enters Brenda, crawling into her through her mouth. Brenda thrashes violently as the demon tries to take over, but her body isn't strong enough. She dies moments later. Lucifer leaves her corpse and immediately enters Laura. Laura doesn't fight. She's calm, almost serene, and that's exactly why it works. Her body is strong. Possessed, but still conscious, Laura walks out of the pit with wide, terrified eyes. Liz welcomes her like a proud mother and declares to the cult that Laura is now the chosen one. She's taken to a luxurious glass cell with soft lights and a comfortable bed. Still shaken, Laura asks what's inside her. Liz just smiles and answers, a better Jesus. At that moment, Michael finally reaches a steel door deep in the underground tunnel. He breaks it open and steps inside, only to be spotted by guards. He tries to fire, but hesitates, and one of the guards shoots him in the shoulder. Gritting his teeth, Michael pushes through the pain and takes them all down with ease, then steals a guard's uniform and access pass before heading deeper into the building, ready to learn exactly what they've done to Laura. Michael sneaks into the lab, quickly recovers the shroud. He scans the security monitors until he spots Laura's location. But before he can leave, Dr. Laurent walks in. Michael slams him against a table and demands answers. Laurent calmly says he's working on a new beginning. Not wasting time, Michael opens a gas valve, lights a flame, and blows up the lab, using the fire as cover when guards burst in. While the flames rage behind him, he rushes off and finds Laura. At first, Laura's overwhelmed with emotion and hugs him, thinking he's Father Marconi. But Lucifer suddenly speaks to Michael through her mind, mocking him about his return. The voice rattles Michael, and Laura gets scared, thinking he's one of them. She runs, but Michael catches up, pulls her into a nearby room, and hides her before the guards spot them. Once they're alone, he finally convinces her he's on her side. Laura explains what they did to her, and Michael promises to protect her. Liz sees them escaping and sends her minions after them. But when the guards are about to shoot, she stops them. Laura must not be harmed. Michael and Laura flee through the cave tunnels, but the baby inside her is growing too fast. Laura starts to feel sick and weak, and they slow down. That gives the beast enough time to catch up. Michael puts up a strong fight at first, but his human body can't keep up. The beast eventually overpowers him. Liz arrives with her henchmen and recaptures Laura. When Laura threatens to hurt the baby if they harm the priest, Liz just smirks. Then she coldly reminds her he's already dead, and now she's going to kill the angel too. While Laura is taken back to the cell and tied to the bed, Michael is chained in the room with the well. Using the last of his strength, he breaks the chains, but the effort drains him. Barely able to move, he drags himself across the floor, reaches the well, and pries it open. Just before the beast catches up, Michael jumps in. As he descends into the depths of hell, a demon attacks. But even in his weakened state, Michael still fights like an angel and defeats it. He walks up to the rock where Lucifer was once chained and stops. The sword that kept him sealed is gone. Moments later, a group of demons appears. With Lucifer's sword in hand, they turn on Michael and trap him just like he once trapped their master. Meanwhile, Laura's pregnancy is speeding up in a way that isn't normal. During an ultrasound, she watches the screen and suddenly sees the baby growl at her. She gasps, but then wakes up. It was just a dream. Liz is sitting beside her. She asks if Lucifer is speaking to her. Laura stays quiet and says she doesn't care. That's enough to set Liz off. She attacks Laura, then backs off. She promises Laura will be free after the baby is born, but until then, she has to show some respect. Moments later, a group of kids finds Michael on the rock. It turns out these are the failed sacrifices who have been working together to survive in hell. Michael begs for help, promising to take them home if they find his sword. Lucifer was an angel too, and now they're not sure if any of them can be trusted. Before they can decide, demons descend. The children scatter. Some get away, but several are captured. Michael screams in frustration, still bound and helpless. Back in her cell, Lucifer's spirit slithers out of Laura's womb and into her mind, whispering a deal. If she accepts him, he'll give her what she wants, revenge. He promises to help her destroy the man who murdered her family. And Liz, tempted by rage and grief, Laura agrees. She leans back on the bed and decides to embrace the child inside her. Watching from the control room, Liz begins to worry. Laura is becoming too powerful. Moments later, Laura turns off the lights with a newfound supernatural strength, kills the nurse, then storms out and attacks another. But just as quickly as the power takes hold, it vanishes. Snapped out of Lucifer's control and horrified by what she's done, Laura panics. She realizes she has to end this. She has to kill the child before it's too late. Lucifer's voice pleads from within, calling her Mom in a pitiful tone. But Laura isn't listening. As guards swarm the hallway, she ducks into a janitor's closet and slams the door behind her. Inside the cramped janitor's closet, Laura fumbles with a bottle of chlorine, hands shaking and mind torn. Lucifer's voice is screaming inside her head, but she forces herself to drink. The toxic liquid burns as it goes down, and within seconds, Laura is on the floor, convulsing and vomiting, her body fighting both poison and possession. The door slams open. Liz storms in, horrified at the sight. She screams at Laura, enraged at what she's done to the child. But before she can leave to get help, Laura's eyes snap open, now glowing with Lucifer's rage. With a violent wave of her hand, the door slams shut, knocking Liz to the ground. Laura stumbles forward and vomits again, this time directly onto Liz, Lucifer now punishing his once loyal servant for her incompetence. Through Laura, Lucifer speaks coldly. After the child is born, everyone here must die. No witnesses. And because Laura has become emotionally bonded with the child, she must be eliminated as well. Liz can only listen in stunned silence as her master gives the final orders. Just then, Laurent rushes in, but instead of attacking him, Laura collapses into his arms, begging him to save her. He injects her with something to neutralize the chlorine and places her into a high-tech healing vat, her body floating as machines begin repairing the damage. Meanwhile, Lucifer's spirit slips out of Laura and enters a demon lurking in hell. He confronts Michael once again, mocking his every failure, taunting him from within the possessed creature. But this time, the conversation isn't private. Hidden nearby, the children hear it all. And in that moment, they understand. Michael is one of the good ones. Once Lucifer leaves, Michael finally grasps the truth. God is letting this happen for a reason. Motivated by renewed clarity, the children rush to help him. Though they can't pull the demon's sword from the chains, they search the ruins nearby and find Michael's original weapon. But before they can bring it to him, a swarm of demons arrives. The kids hesitate, fear in their eyes, but then they remember Michael's words. With trembling hands, they pass him the sword. Michael's form surges with divine power, his true angelic self revealed for just a moment. And with a single sweep, he slaughters the demons. After promising the kids he'll come back for them, Michael returns to Earth in Marconi's body and retrieves the Shroud of Turin before heading back to the main building. He takes down a guard, grabs a weapon, and rushes to find Laura. But when he reaches her, one thing becomes horrifyingly clear. Lucifer is still inside her. Desperate to save her, Michael pushes the pod into a nearby room and barricades the door. He opens it carefully and leans in, whispering Laura's name. But before she can stir, a thunderous roar erupts from her lungs. Lucifer is still in control. Using Laura's body like a puppet, Lucifer lashes out, slamming Michael across the room with supernatural force. Michael scrambles to his feet, trying to reason with the demon, but Lucifer grabs him and shoves him onto Laura's lap, mocking him, demanding that he kneel, worship him. When Michael refuses, Lucifer drives Laura's fingers into Michael's neck. Blood trickles down, but Michael, unwavering, looks him dead in the eyes and speaks the truth. God allowed this not because he's absent, but because when Lucifer enters the holy vessel, Jesus will imprison him forever. Lucifer howls in fury and beats Michael unconscious. Moments later, Liz enters with guards and sees Laura slumped in the pod. When Lucifer, still using Laura's voice, demands the child be killed, Liz assumes it's just Laura speaking again and ignores her. The guards carry Laura away. On top of the well to hell, Laura gives birth to the baby, and Liz immediately takes him away. Laura is left alone on the well, and the beast opens the lid to make her fall before joining the others outside. Meanwhile, Michael awakens and, using his weapon, shatters the glass to escape. He enters the well room and finds Laura hanging on the edge, so he helps her up before they go after their enemy together. Liz is about to leave with the baby in a car, but Laura jumps on her and hits her before reaching for the child. Liz begs her not to harm the baby, but Michael intervenes. This child is not Lucifer. God chose you, Laura. You gave birth to his prison. With the truth finally clear, Laura gets into the car and drives off with the baby, heading for safety. Michael turns back to the facility. Hell's Gate is still open, and demons are already slipping through. In the chamber, he races to close the gateway, but the beast returns and attacks him, trying to pry the portal wider. As they battle, Michael spots blinking red lights scattered throughout the room. Liz had wired the place with explosives on Lucifer's orders to destroy all evidence. Michael dives for the detonator and slams it down. The explosion rocks the earth. Fire and debris consume the whole, sealing the infernal gateway beneath rubble and ash. Sometime later, Vincini brings Laura and her child to the cathedral, where they are given sanctuary. Michael keeps his promise and returns to hell, leading the children out one by one. Years pass. Laura now lives quietly with Vincini in a remote asylum, raising her son in peace. The boy grows strong and kind, unaware of the cosmic battle that brought him into the world. But one evening deep in the woods, Liz, alive, twisted, and desperate, tries to summon Lucifer once more. The demon stirs, tries to rise, and then the child appears. With calm, glowing eyes, he lifts a hand, and Lucifer is drawn back into his body, sealed once more by the very soul meant to contain him. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a great day, everyone.